By the end of today's episode, you'll know how creating your own projects can open doors, build your confidence, and help you book more acting work, even before the industry discovers you. Welcome to the Actor's Career Compass, where we help aspiring screen actors find high-quality auditions, sign with great agents, and book major roles in legit productions. I'm your host, Martin Bentsen, and today I interview actress Megan Heyn. We cover why creating your own work might be the smartest career move you can make right now, how producing a show like Actors Anonymous helped Megan attract new opportunities, and some budget-friendly tricks that can make your self-produced projects look like they cost way more. All right, so actor, writer, and creator Megan Heyn has lived all over the United States, from California to Maryland. Her acting career began to take flight at the UCB Franklin Theater in Hollywood, where she was a part of the Quick and Funny Musicals team and Matt Besser's Freak Dance musical. This exposure led to bookings on shows such as Big Bang Theory, The John Mulaney Show, and most recently, Ryan Murphy's Monster. She also loves to write and shoot her own projects, and most current one being the mockumentary comedy, which is awesome and very funny, called Actors Anonymous, which she also directed. Thanks so much for joining me today, Megan.
Hooray! I want to apologize for the lawnmower going outside as well.
Oh, no worries at all. Honestly, I can't even hear it.
Wonderful. I can.
Yeah, well, our sound is great, and I'm very excited to chat with you. I have some questions I'll be taking us through. So here's the thing for anybody who's listening to this, producing and creating some of your own productions, especially if you actually put effort into it and make it really good, because if
Yeah,
you just do some random thing, that's different than actually going all in on it.
right.
It can make a serious difference in your acting career and in terms of your connections and all kinds of things. So, I want to ask you, as someone who has done this, why do you think that it's so valuable for actors to create their own shows rather than just waiting for opportunities to come to them?
I think, well, a couple reasons. One, I think just mental health wise, it helps you not go insane. Um, because there's, as you wait for the phone to ring, wait for an audition, especially now that the industry is so strange right now. Like there's just not much shooting. There's not much shooting in LA. There's not much going on. So the waiting is much longer than normal. So, and that can just drive actors crazy. I mean, I've been, especially earlier in my career, just like you just wait and wait and go insane and you feel like, oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, and there's this anxiety, and it creating your own stuff, it gets rid of that. So I think it just helps you relax and enjoy your life. Because an actor's life is not, I don't care if you are Brad Pitt or fresh off the bus, an actor's life isn't easy. It's very frustrating and hard. And whatever you can do to soften that reality is important. So I think that alone, producing your own stuff, just helps you switch your mind out of desperate actor, and then it gives you power.
Hmm.
So that's important. And then other than that, I think it just helps you find out what you have to offer to the world and what your inner artist wants to do. I feel like a lot of people show up to LA thinking like, I can do it all and I want to do it all. And look at me, I can sing, I can dance, I can do drama, I can do cut, like, like we all come here like, I'm a star. Look at all the things I can do, which is all fine and good. You are a star, everyone's a star, but I find that the more specific you get with what you offer, the more successful you are. Like I've had friends where um their goal was so specific. I have a friend who I had known since college who his goal was to write on SNL. His goal wasn't like to be a writer of scripts, to do this, to win an Oscar, all this broad stuff. He wanted to write on SNL and achieve that goal, early. in his career, because he was just going for one specific thing. He knew what he offered, he knew what his strengths were. And I think often actors, especially, we think, but I have every strength. And you might, but it's actually really helpful to know what you do best and just focus on that versus going really broad.
It's so interesting, the whole idea, and I agree 100%. The more specific you are, not only does it kind of, lead to a higher chance of success, but I think that the reason for that is just because when you are specific in that way, you could find who else has done this in the past. You can kind of figure out what did they do, what might I have to do, and it just kind of it's also, I would say, like not limiting, and people think that it is because they're like, oh, well, if I just do this, then I'm kind of stuck in that. But that's not necessarily the case. It's like first do that, then with the money, connection, success, whatever you've kind of built up there, you could start to expand and do other things, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Ron Howard was on Happy Days, before he was a famous director. Jason Bateman was on a sitcom before he's now like this prolific director, actor, creator, but like starting like small and just like, well, what do I do best? Focus on that. And if you produce your own stuff, you find that, because you are only working on like, oh, well, what do I want to create? What do I have to say? And you can discover that and hone that um quickly, and it gives you power. So I think that's just so important. And it I think what you said was really smart about like people think it's limiting, but it's not. It's empowering. Yeah.
It's so, I mean, the mental side of growing, growing any career to a high level does require a lot of mental, but especially with acting, when, there's no real set career path, it's not like, okay, I'm going to get promoted, etc. And so obviously the keeping sane, like you were saying, is super critical because there's so much stuff that you have like a lot of time. You're like, what am I going to do with this? But then also you're like, hey, now I know that I enjoy this, like you said, getting specific with something. But I think also the whole idea now, hold on, I'm losing my train of thought.
That's okay. You'll find it. You'll find it.
Well, what I will say really quick that I started to think about is just along with doing your own productions, some actors also do like side hustle type of things, where they kind of learn about the production. And now that brings me back to my train of thought, which is you learn like about how the industry or productions actually work. And by
Yeah.
like gaining that additional knowledge, it also makes you maybe more appealing to agents as well, because they can kind of see like, oh, this person has produced this thing. They actually took it seriously. They're professional. They know what goes into making a project and all of that. So there's like so many different benefits to it.
Yeah, and I've thought about this a lot. I think a lot of people come to LA or New York or whatever market you're in, and they come wanting to be an actor. And I think that is because um, that's what we see. Like some people maybe really love movies. Well, what do you see? You see the actors. And then they wind up in one of these markets and acting is really hard, but they maybe produce something and they're like, oh, well, I really like producing, or oh, I really like writing. Oh, I really just like being on set. I don't have to be an actor. So it also like um, it exposes you to other things that you might be good at that aren't acting. Because a lot of people come here wanting to act, but they really don't want to act. They just want to be on set, or they just want to be a part of making movies, or they end up being, a lot of people come here and end up being an agent, or, like they want to be a part of the business and they think that means acting because that's the only example. Like there's no like famous agents that people are like, oh, I'm following Kevin Huvane on Instagram. Like, we don't see it. You see the actors. And the reality of acting is very hard unless you have the deep passion and drive to do it.
It's interesting because, as someone, I myself, as many people who listen to my podcast know, I'm not an actor myself, but I studied
I was
film.
wondering
Yeah.
that.
So I run a headshot business and studied film directing and all of that. And my goal when I was in college was to become a successful film director, right? And so obviously, like through that, working with tons of actors and doing headshots and learning about the business side of the acting industry was kind of what led me to get to here. But it's funny because a lot of actors kind of feel like, oh, well, if I go and produce my own thing, or like Martin was saying before, if I start a side hustle or something to support my acting career, does that mean that I'm not successful and I'm letting my dream fall to the side? And it can kind of be, it can kind of feel like that sometimes, like I'm like, I look back and I'm like, well, I studied film directing and I'm not really doing that right now. I've done films, but then you kind of look and you're like, but I grew this other thing, whether it's a business or I created my own production that I got to act in. And then years down the line, you kind of transition back, or you can still do acting at the same time. I mean, one of my enjoyments, film directing. I mean, I got into shooting scenes for actors' reels,
Oh,
or
that's
even still shooting some of my own shorts. So it's not like I'm not doing any of that, but that stuff can totally happen over time. And anyone who is kind of considering this shouldn't feel like a failure or like things aren't working out if they have to go and make their own production. I think it's an amazing experience, and it means that you're actually even more dedicated potentially to acting if you do something like this, right?
Yeah, and what I discovered, like I've been writing for a long time now, but producing your own thing is hard. It takes, even just the financial aspect is really hard. So taking the step from like writing to producing that writing, it's like very safe to sit in your house and write something and love it, and then send it to people, and but to get money for it is really hard. So then deciding like, oh, I'm just gonna make it myself. It's a huge undertaking, and it's different than just writing something. But through that process, I learned like, oh, I can write and I love writing. I love it almost as much as I love acting, and I discovered like, oh, I'm really good at getting people together and creating a space where we can all collaborate safely and have a lot of fun. Like I'm good at that. Like you can discover other gifts that are also attached to acting, but maybe aren't acting and they're gifts, like acting is a gift, but it's very subjective.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people who are major stars and you watch them and it's like, this person isn't that good? But who knows what other gifts they have that they're utilizing at the same time. Um, but yeah, you discover it builds confidence in a way where it's very hard to maintain confidence about acting. Even if you know in your heart of hearts, I'm a great actor, you can be Meryl Streep and never book a job. And you never know why, you know, like because no one's giving you feedback. You're throwing tapes out into the universe. You might hear back, you might never hear back. And so it's hard to continue to self-validate through all of the rejection. And when you create your own project, you're doing that for yourself. You're validating yourself. You're saying, I'm good. I'm putting it out there. I don't care whether someone's saying yes or no to me. I'm doing it myself.
Mm.
And that's just, it's very powerful for your soul. Yeah, because it's the actor spirit is so fragile. Like, it's so fragile.
I think it's also good for actors who don't have a ton of, let's say, additional skills beyond acting, because obviously you develop those skills, and most importantly, like the ability to work on teams with other people and kind of, you know, organize and manage a production and everything. That kind of helps you feel a lot more confidence when you're interacting with other industry people down the line. There's so
Yeah.
many benefits to creating your own production, but now specifically to your own, let's say, acting opportunities or career specific opportunities. Let's talk about that. How has producing your own work helped you with creating specifically like acting career opportunities for yourself?
I think for me, it's more like an energy. It's like the more I create my own stuff, the less desperate energy I have. And
Mm.
that's just an energy that books more jobs. You
Yeah.
know, like anytime in my career, I've been like, I need this job. I will, it is like poison. But anytime I'm like, "Meh, I don't care that much. I book it or whatever, like it's not always that cut and dry, but it is very much that like and sometimes, living in LA when you like see celebrities or whatever, and the second you see them in person, it's like, oh, that's why they're famous. It's because they don't care. They're like, yeah, I like myself. I'm cool. I do this thing and it works for me. And there's something about that energy that is like magnetic. People want to be around it. So creating my own stuff gives me that. Like, I'm not every audition, I'm not like, oh, I need this job. I want this job. I haven't worked. I need the money, whatever. So it gets rid of that for me.
Mhm.
Um, and then other than that, I think it gives um, agents, managers, other creatives a massive amount of respect for you. You know, like I think other creatives just appreciate when people create despite the circumstances. Like I had you said in the bio this job monster, which I shot for Netflix, and it wasn't a big part, but it was a great part. And I was on set with people who work a lot and a director who works a lot and was great. And I talked about my web series, Actors Anonymous, on. I was like, oh, well, I just directed and wrote my whole thing. And these people who are professionals and work all the time were so impressed that I took that on, because I don't have a studio paying me or whatever. I just invested in myself. And they were all super, like, it gave me such cred that I would do it and then talk about it with people who are at the top of their game. So I think as far as getting other jobs or I guess you could say networking, it gives you something to network about, It gives you you can legitimize yourself.
Mhm.
Whereas sometimes you feel like, oh, well, maybe I don't have good credit from a good streaming company or a good network. And it's like, maybe that will legitimize you. If you make your own project, you're legitimizing yourself because people know how hard it is. And let's say something gets into a film festival, you legitimize yourself, you
Mhm.
know. So I think that can be a really good step for people to take because sometimes you feel like you're just swimming in this sea of like, no one notices me, no one takes me seriously. Take yourself seriously and make something, you know?
A few things came to mind when you were saying,
Yeah.
hopefully my mind doesn't lose track again. But I mean, number one, we're going to be talking about uh because you mentioned taking that on and not getting an investor, right? So
Yeah.
people might be like, how am I going to be able to do my own production? It can
Yes.
be really expensive, right? Number two, just a comment on this that I was thinking about while you're talking was the whole idea about, you're saying credibility that you kind of gained when people were meeting you and learning about this production you've done. And
Mhm.
that is actually a huge reason that one actor might not get booked over another one. And that's why credits are so important, right? When someone sees, let's say, that you have a credit in a Law and Order show, even if
Sure.
it's just a co-star, suddenly it's like, okay, well, this person clearly was trusted enough by another casting director, so I will trust them enough for my projects.
Yeah.
And that idea that you created something that's so difficult instantly puts that trust in casting directors or agents who are considering you. And so suddenly, just that level of trust that this person was able to do this says that they're probably professional enough and good enough trustworthy enough to be in my production. Now, so the two-part question that I have, one I already mentioned, the budget-friendly tips
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
people, but then the second one is just kind of something that I was thinking while you were speaking also is just like, some actors, they might be like, well, even if I can get this budget together, how do I know if what I'm putting together is going to be good enough? And how do I know if it is good? Like, if I'm doing a web series, are my episodes good? How do I find out if they're good? Do you have tips on those two things?
I do. I'll start with the latter. I think don't shoot something until you feel that script is tight
Mm.
because it all goes back to the script. I mean, there's a lot of fun editing you can do and, quilting it together and mix and match, but you don't have to do any of that if your script is ready. And if you're a new writer, you might not know that it is going to take a minimum of 10 drafts, like a minimum. Um, and that's good. Like, find people you trust to read it, take their notes seriously. If they really don't resonate with you, that's okay. See if you're getting the same. I always try to, like, I have readers that I trust, and if I'm getting the same notes, I know, okay, I can't avoid that note. I've gotten it from three different people.
Yeah.
But I think really working the script and not shooting it until okay, all the boxes are checked. So that going into production, you will have the product at the end that is that is something you're going to be proud of. I've shot things before where I have rushed the script and it hasn't been ready and I haven't been happy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always like you're going to learn so much and take away so much from whatever you do. But what you want at the end is to have a product you're proud of and that you want to show people. And I really think it comes back to the script. And if you're not a writer, work with a writer. There's lots of people, especially starting out, or I mean, or if you're an actor, if you're an actor and you're not working, you should probably be in an acting class. And I'm sure there are people in class that write and would love to collaborate. So I don't want people to think like, oh, but I don't write and I don't like writing. That's okay. You don't have to do it. But find someone who wants to and wants to collaborate with you. And maybe they're an actor too and they want to create a story together, whatever.
People
But
that already have something that's been written, and if you read it and
wouldn't
it's really
that
good.
be nice? Yeah. And then you're like, hey, I'd love to shoot this. You would too. Let's produce it together. Um, so yes, work that script till you feel like bam, and people are reading it and they're saying, oh my gosh, I love it. I don't have any notes. Like I have little wording things. Then like, okay, the script is shoot. I want to say like, like when they say a ship is seaworthy, it's like your script is seaworthy. It's ready to go on the ocean and fly. Um, and then budget wise, there's a couple ways you can do it. I mean, and I'm sure there's a million ways you can do it. The ways I have done it are I've done crowdfunding. It is so hard. It is some people are just naturally good at it. They're like, "Oh, I don't mind encouraging people to give me money." Maybe they have that kind of like salesy persona, the charisma. For me, I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want to ask people for money. It makes me feel small. So I have done that. I raised, I think it was 20 or $22,000 for a short film I did uh in 2018. Um, so if you're good at crowdfunding, it's a great way to do it. But put all of yourself into it, do it right. Because it's not like I'm going to throw a campaign together. It takes like at least a month, 2 months to plan your campaign, do it right, and make your money. I have done that before. I learned this sucked my soul. I don't want to do this. So for this project, I was like, I'm just going to put up the money myself. Now, I am fortunate to be in a place to do that. Not everybody can like, I'm not saying put this all on credit cards. Though I will say, tidbit, a very famous friend that I have uh, who started by making her own projects, like sometimes like if we'd be at rehearsal or something, she would like look at her phone and be like, oh, creditors are calling me because she would make all her stuff and she'd put it on credit cards. Uh, Not something I would do. That being said, she's a Golden Globe winner now. So, you know, it depends on what you can handle. I'm not, so that is a way, but I'm in a place where I could put up the money myself. And what I did was I really utilized my community. I have a friend that I've known since college who wanted to get in producing. So I said, hey, would you like to produce this with me? I don't have any money to give you. We're both just doing this. And she was like, yes. So I think a lot of people just want to get experience and they're interested in producing or just being on set or whatever, they're building their acting credits. They will work for free. Um, or if they're just a really good friend and they're like, oh, could you do crafty this day of my shoot? Sure, of course, we're great friends. So there's a lot, utilize your friends, utilize the people that want to get experience in certain areas, And other than that, I really leaned on my community, like for it's set in a church. AA, a lot of meetings are in churches, so we couldn't, I wanted to church like in Hollywood, like in LA proper, because I knew it would be easiest for my cast and crew to get there. We tried. First of all, a lot of, if you're in a church, the script has to be approved most of the time. They wouldn't approve our script. Now, our script is very tame. There are curse words in it, but so that was an issue. And then price was an issue because clearly, if you're shooting in LA, they know what LA prices are.
Mm.
So it was very expensive. I live on a street and I heard at our neighborhood block party that there's a pastor who lives on my street. So I got his email and his church is right around the corner and he let us shoot there for almost nothing.
Nice.
And he has a daughter who's an actor, and I was like, great, I'll put her in and I'll give her lines.
Nice.
She was like a new actor. She didn't have any credits, so I'm able to like he's giving us the location for a great price, and I'm able to give his daughter some experience as well. Um, so leaning on the community, see, I was emailing, like I was trying to get extras. I was like emailing my community, committees and all this stuff. Do you know of anyone? There's a local theater. I was like, hey, do you know of anyone who'd want to be an extra? I was in a coffee shop right down the street and I overheard people saying lines and I was like, are you guys actors? And they were like, yeah, we like to write scripts. And I was like, I'm about to shoot something. Would any of you like to be an extra? So I got extras that way. So it was like I just tried to like, I think sometimes people think like networking and stuff is reaching far beyond you, but I think it's just really close. Like, who do you know right now? Who's really close to you that can help you? Like, that's networking. I don't think you have to think of it as I've got to meet Brian Grazer accidentally and he's going to put me in something. Just utilize what's around you right now. So that all of those things made things much cheaper. The person who shot it, who was DP, shot my wedding.
Oh,
Like
nice.
forever ago. He works with my husband, and my husband gives him so much work throughout the year because my husband's not in the industry. He's like a business marketer person. So this guy was so happy to shoot for me for literally almost nothing, um, because my husband's been giving him work forever. He's a family friend. So utilizing that relationship and then we just did everything as bare bones as possible. We spent money only where we knew like, well, I don't want to not spend money on one of the things actually was just getting all the extras I needed because I need people to fill out this group and I need people who look like they could be in AA. If I just cast all of my friends who are my same age, it's like, or it's just not going to look like a realistic AA. So I like went on Actors Access. I made a thing. I got these people made the show. And I gave them almost nothing. I gave like $50 a day,
Mhm.
but them getting paid, I provided good food and everyone was so happy to be there. We had the most amazing set, most amazing people. I mean, and the shit I was asking them to do because the show is so can be so ridiculous. And I'm just asking them like, "Oh, would you guys mind just like getting up and screaming?" And they're like, "Yes!" like and they were incredible. So the areas I spent money where I thought like, "Oh, I don't want to spend much money on casting. I know a lot of actors. I have a lot of friends who could come help." People are busy. It's hard and we shot for 5 days. So to like get at least 10 extras for 5 days, it's hard. So that was one of the best things I spent money on was like making sure I had professional extras who were awesome. And they were incredible. Um, gosh, did I answer the question?
You definitely did. You said a lot of really useful things there for people who are, again, trying to make their own productions because it was about budget and what else did I ask you? Yeah, I mean, knowing whether what you're doing is actually good, you
Yes.
really answered those questions really, really well. And I think that, you touched on networking and that's super important. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't know anyone. It's like, well, is that really true? Like, go back through your calendar for the past like 6 months and see like who did you have meetings with? Did you go to a class? Maybe you knew someone from there. Just like write people down, put them into a spreadsheet thing so that they're there, and then, go and start reaching out to people and reconnect
Yeah.
with these people, and then you can create new opportunities for yourself. I think that also what you said on writing is so important because I mean, if your script is not 100% and then you start shooting, it's like way harder to go back and make it stronger. It's way
I've
easier.
done it before. Trust me, I
Yeah,
know.
me too. As a filmmaker, I've done that too many times and have wasted a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's boring though to people. They're like, I want to shoot. But it's
Oh,
like, you know what? If you're really feeling that way, don't worry. Like 6 extra months or 1 extra year is not the end of the world. If you're bored, put the project to the side for a little bit, maybe write a different project
yeah.
and come back to that one with fresh eyes and you'll see things that you weren't thinking about, ways to improve it. Shoot it once it's really strong. A professor of mine when I was in NYU used to used to joke and say, it doesn't really like, especially these days with your cell phone and stuff, like it doesn't really matter what you shoot the project on. He used to say, you could shoot it on toilet paper. No one cares. They just want a story that makes them get the emotion and laugh and enjoy and stuff. And yes, beautiful lighting and beautiful framing and high-end cinematic lenses with blurred out backgrounds. Sure, all that stuff is cool, but that stuff costs a lot of money. And at the end of the day, like, I mean, if you watch something and the audience is just like laughing and enjoying it and stuff, they're going to keep coming back to watch more. And then through that success, you can get the funds that are needed to be able to make your higher end production next.
Yes, yes, I completely agree. And I will say too, one thing that is super important not to skimp on and isn't that expensive is sound. You know,
Yes.
like your movie can look like pure shit. And as long as it sounds good, people don't care.
Yeah.
But if your actors aren't properly mic'd, if levels are weird, it
Yeah,
takes people
too
out.
hard to follow. It's why I watch so many films and everything with subtitles because if I can't follow what's being said, I like very quickly lose interest.
Yeah, you just it
Really
takes
sound-
you out. Yeah. I would say sound is the most important part of your production. Yeah.
And then one other note that I had written down, you were talking a bit about crowdfunding, and I was just going to say, I mean, I'm by no means an expert on crowdfunding, but one thing that I have heard is, of course, if you are doing a project that people believe in, like the emotion behind it, or like, it's for a cause that's, let's say, beyond yourself or something. I tend to find that those projects can do a little bit better in crowdfunding type of situations because people are like, oh, I'm supporting a cause, I'm supporting something. So I don't know, again, beyond that, it's just kind of like something that occurred to me while you were talking.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah. And I think that's just part of planning your campaign, like know why you're doing it, what's motivating you, and that's what people are going to connect to.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Now, I have two final questions here that I'm going to kind of combine together. Okay. Um, a lot of people who want to do projects, as we talked about, whether it's boredom from just like working on this script for a long period of time and just being like, I want to shoot this, or like, this is my 30th draft and I can't read it
Yeah.
again. Um, number one, like how can actors stay motivated and committed to finishing their project when they hit those setbacks? And then two, beyond just let's say boredom or whatever, what are other like common roadblocks that they might face?
Right. Yeah. I'm sure it's probably the things that work for me might not work for other people, but it just speaks to like knowing what motivates you
Hmm.
and going back to that. I know what really motivates me. Um, it's pretty simple, but watching other people's work that's really good. And like just maybe going back to a show that I love and watching a couple episodes or a movie that I love old movies, like watching an old movie that I love, and seeing other work that inspires me just makes me want to create. It like fills my tank back up. If my tank is low, I like fill it by watching other inspiring work. And then the other thing, super simple, is just music. Like I don't know what it is, but turning on, I'll make a playlist for every project that I'm doing.
Nice.
And so then, and everything like requires a different kind of music. So whenever I'm working on, like, let's just say when I worked on Actors Anonymous, I have like an Actors Anonymous playlist. So whenever I put it on, I'm like back and like, okay, I'm seeing those characters and now I'm like ready to, like, I'm getting the tone and all that stuff. And picking the songs that for whatever reason just give me the energy to put stuff down on paper or they're inspiring me. They're making me excited. So those are two big things for me. I can be like completely like, ugh, I don't want to do anything. And then I like play a song and I'm like, oh, well, I have to spend the rest of the day writing. So that flips the switch for me. So whatever it is for you, find out what it is that fills your tank, and whenever it gets low, go back to those things. Some people, it might be like taking a walk outside, or observing nature, or just having a long conversation with a friend. Whatever it is that motivates you, do that. Know what, and like find out what that is. So that's what I would say when you're getting to the point of like, I don't want to do this.
I would
I'll,
just add to it, sleep for me has been really helpful. I find that like if I'm getting like really bad sleep for a few nights in a row, I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. And then if I can catch up on my sleep, then I get like again.
and I think for creative people too, like I think we get depleted, in different ways. Like, I don't know, my husband is very creative, but he can like just work and work and work and still have like endless energy. It's not like an issue, but if you're a creative person and everything you're working in, it's like you're putting your soul into it. It's so personal and intimate and emotional, and it can be very draining.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do have to learn, yeah, get sleep, rest, whatever it is, exercise, know those things. And then roadblocks, I think one roadblock is just what you're talking about, keeping yourself motivated. Some
Mhm.
people just have a hard time seeing things through to the finish line. Fortunately, I'm just the type of person who like I have to finish things, even if it was like I finished, I don't like it. I'm still gonna put it out there because I'm like, why else would I have done all of this stuff? Or I couldn't almost finish something and not. Like I have to see things through. But that can be hard.
Yeah.
Um, so I would also say things that help are relying on people close to you to keep
Yeah.
supporting you because it's hard to just and I did like an Instagram video on it. One of the hardest things for me during the process of writing, production, post-production is if it's your project and you're the fuel, you're the motor and the fuel and the car and like yeah, like you're like all the stuff making
You have every name on the credits.
yes, you're like everything. Um that it's no one is telling you, great job, keep going.
Yeah,
That's
that's
your
true.
own job. And it's that can be really hard. So I definitely like relied on family and friends to be like, hey, can you just tell me that I'm doing a good job? Can you just tell me to keep going? Because you can only tell yourself that so many times before it's just like, well, it's not really motivating me today. But I think letting people close to you know, like, hey, just send me a couple random texts throughout the week and tell me I'm amazing or whatever. Like that helps because otherwise it's just until you're at a point where it's like you have a really consistent fan base or you know, whatever, where people are like, I want to see your work. What are you working on? You are the one pushing everything up the mountain, and that's a big roadblock. It's really hard.
I when we were talking about this, I mean, obviously, like we've talked about a number of roadblocks, like the financial stuff and all of these different things. But uh, I found, and this is just sort of like a really tactical tip. I remember maybe like 100 episodes or something ago, like maybe back in like episode 80 or 90, I did this podcast about what I call the singular task strategy. And it's essentially something that I've used myself when I have a big project, right? And obviously, producing your own show is one of those big projects, and it can seem overwhelming.
Yeah.
I literally just the other day have this like I need to go back and redo a whole bunch of stuff on one of my websites, and there's like so many steps. And so I was like, all right, it's been 2 weeks. I've been wanting to do this, but why haven't I taken any action on it yet? And it's because it's like, yes, it feels overwhelming. And obviously this can go on for a long time and you procrastinate. So I had forgotten about this strategy, but I was actually chatting with Chat GPT, right? Which is useful actually to actually help with this strategy. And I remembered it where basically like saying like, all right, every day you do this one like singular task that should not take more than like 5 minutes, right? And so I actually found that for anybody who does use ChatGPT, you can actually use it now to coach you on stuff.
Oh,
And so it's really cool. So basically, it'll set reminders and follow up with you and email you if you have the account with
yes.
it.
Right.
I was like, all right, I have this big project. I want it done. What do you think the main steps of this project should be? And it'll kind of like tell you some general stuff and you might add or object or adjust it. Then what you do is you say like, all right, every day I want you to just follow up and break this down into like a 5 minute task. It takes me no more than 5 minutes. Check in with me each day and just make sure that I get that done. Regardless of whether someone uses ChatGPT to follow up with them or they do this on their own, by just like breaking these big things into like a 5 minute task. Sometimes you sit down for 5 minutes and you're like, okay, it's been 20 minutes and I got a lot more done,
Yeah.
by the end of it.
Yeah.
But I think that's helpful to kind of, avoid the procrastination that it might do to people.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Yeah, because sometimes it can seem so massive, but if like take it back to writing, if it's like, oh, I'm just gonna like take a few notes
Hmm.
today for 5 minutes, then you've done something. And even this just popped in my brain for writing too. Like, it doesn't always have to be writing. Like, right now, I'm working on something else and I need perspective. So I'm doing a lot of like conversations with friends
Yeah,
and
send 2 emails to a friend today.
yeah, yeah. Invite them to coffee so I can like do this research.
Yeah.
That's writing too, you know, like so there's a lot you can do that isn't maybe sitting in front of your computer. Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that you wanted to add today? This has been an amazing conversation.
Oh, thank you so much for doing this, Martin. I guess I just want to say that we'll put like my Instagram handle and
Yeah,
stuff.
anybody, of course, tell us how we can get in touch as well, because this is
Yes.
people may want to email you with questions if
Yeah.
you're open to it or whatever.
Happy to support artists. Oh, and I wanted to say that too about you know, budgeting and finding out how to do things. I just want to say people want to help artists. They really do. Like you might think like, oh, no one is going to give me money or give me a deal or whatever. Like if you tell them like I'm doing this passion project and I'm trying to blah blah blah, people will give you discounts. They will help you. They want ask for help is what I'm saying
Yeah.
because they want to help you more than you know. Um, yes, feel free, people, to reach out on Instagram. I'm at Meg Heyn. If you have any questions, I'm happy to support other artists. I love doing that. And then our website for Actors Anonymous, the series is aa-series.com. You can see all the episodes. And we didn't really say, but it's about actors wanting to quit acting because acting is so hard. So if you're feeling like you're a frustrated actor, watch it. Or if you're feeling just need to connect with the actor brain because the industry is really strange right now, watch it and it'll make you feel seen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's relatable. It's very, very funny and enjoyable to watch. And so, just so anybody who's listening to this is aware, that's Megheyn for Instagram, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very, very appreciative, and I'm sure everyone listening to this is as well. This was a wealth of information. We covered more things than I expected us to, so amazing.
Well, we're on it, you know.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, thanks for listening. Now, if you want to dive even deeper on how to use producing credits to get more acting opportunities, check out episode number 140, 4 Ways Actors Can Highlight Producing Credits in Their Acting Profiles. In that episode, I walk you through how to highlight and talk about your filmmaking work in a way that makes agents and casting directors want to meet you. Again, that's episode number 140, 4 Ways Actors Can Highlight Producing Credits in Their Acting Profiles, right here on the Actor's Career Compass. Now, if you found today's episode helpful, I would really appreciate if you could just take a minute to leave a short review. Doing so really helps more actors find the show. Just go to ratethispodcast.com/actor success. Thanks so much, and I will see you soon.